A little over 8 years ago, I started this YouTube channel to chronicle our adventures remodeling our 1950s single wide mobile home. And it's been really cool. I've really enjoyed it. But a lot's changed since then. As you can tell just by looking around, we are no longer in our 1950s mobile home. We moved earlier this year and sold our mobile home for several reasons, but the main one being for about 6 of those years that we lived there, my mother-in-law lived next door to us, and she passed away in December of 2022. So we sold her mobile home and ours. We wanted more space. To be honest, we really got tired of remodeling the house. We'd been there for about 10 years, and it was a non-stop remodeling project for us. So, we were kind of ready to leave even before she passed away, but that was just kind of the catalyst to us leaving that mobile home. We really loved the house. It was enjoyable. We don't regret anything we did or the money we spent or the time we put into it. But there was still so much we wanted to do, and we didn't feel like we could continue on and keep our sanity at the same time. So we started looking for apartments and looking to sell our mobile home, which was a somewhat relatively easy process because we sold it back to the park that we had actually purchased it from. Of course, in much better condition than we bought it, because over the years we had done everything from replacing the electrical to resealing the roof to leveling it to putting on new floorings to reframing the entire thing minus the kitchen to expanding the bathroom, to adding on that big deck we had on there, everything out. So we certainly spent tons and tons of money. We fenced it, we put in a driveway, we did the landscaping. But, after almost a decade of that, we just kind of got tired of it. Our work schedules have changed completely, and, the time off we have is really, really precious, and we would prefer to have more time to spend at home not doing those sort of things. So an apartment was the right choice. So we sold my mother-in-law's house first, and then we sold ours shortly after that. And we found this apartment here, very near downtown Fort Worth. And we really like it because it's an older apartment, which of course kind of has its own quirks too. But you can tell just by looking around at it that there's the built-ins and things like that you won't find in the newer apartments. So anyway, we are now here in downtown Fort Worth. There will be no more mobile home remodeling on this channel unless something drastically changes in our lives, but that won't be for several years. So I'm really hoping that you stick around to kind of see what we have going on here in our lives as we add things to our apartment and kind of remodel things here. Because, we're not done messing with stuff. It's just more cosmetic and certainly more affordable than remodeling a giant old mobile home. Not that it was giant, but you get the drift. But yeah, when she passed away, it was really, really hard for us to continue to go back there every day and have a reminder that right next door was my best friend. So it made sense for us to leave there and move to an apartment, which is somewhat of a life adjustment. That's my mother-in-law there. It was a big life adjustment for us. The apartment's 1,000 square feet. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. It was built in the 50s, just like our mobile home was. So that's kind of cool. And we've doubled the space. We've had furniture and stuff we've had to buy because in our little mobile home, we didn't have room. In fact, these 2 chairs over here were our only sitting options in our living room. We had these 2 chairs and one of these side end tables over here in the mobile home. But the couch is new, the coffee table's new, obviously the lamps are new. We got this dresser on Marketplace, the table's new. I mean, the China Hutch area is new. So there was a lot of change. I now have a queen bed versus a twin. That was a big fun adjustment. We now have 2 bathrooms. And bathrooms we don't have to trip over each other to get ready in. But that decade we spent there at that little trailer was so worth it, and I loved it. And if we would have had more time and more patience and, realistically, a little bit more money too, we would have probably stayed there and added on. But that same winter my mother-in-law passed away, that same Christmas, we had a freeze that hit North Texas, and it busted a lot of water lines in the park. And for probably the 6th time in 10 years, we went without water for over a week. So we were dealing with a death. It was right at Christmas time. We had no water. We had to cancel all of our Christmas plans. And we spent Christmas Eve at a Love's truck stop getting a shower because it had been about 3 days since we were able to take a shower. Now, we were able to stay in our home because there was a trickle of water that came in to our house, but it certainly was it was not pleasant, especially when you're dealing with a death and everything else. So that was really the icing on the cake. And when we had the estate sale for her house in early February or late January, I forget now, we sold a bunch of our stuff to tools and things that we knew we wouldn't need going into an apartment. We hadn't even found an apartment yet, but we knew that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to move because it would just never be the same anymore without Priscilla there. And, life has chapters, and that chapter, that fun chapter with that beautiful little house and all of our memories was over with. I wrote something on Facebook a while back after my mother-in-law died and after we moved here. And, I mean, as you can tell, the apartment is, of course that's perspective, but for us it's a lot nicer than our mobile home was. But I wrote a line on Facebook. I said I'd go back to that trailer if you could still be my neighbor. And I meant that because that was a magical, special time. Having your best friend next to you, we shared yards, we shared work, we shared everything. So I just wanted to give, and I promised back in April that I'd give some sort of an explanation as to why we moved and to why we left the trailer. And that is why. Life changed very drastically, somewhat unexpectedly. And that, coupled with our work schedules and our patience for doing projects, the reality of how much more money do we want to dump into that house, and then the final straw was not having water for 8 days when you want family around, but you can't have anybody over. We can cook. We couldn't do anything. So that's why we left, and we're happy here. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect place, but no place is perfect. But it's certainly, for us anyway, it felt like the right step at the time. And I think it was. So, as I said earlier, hope you stick around to the channel. We will be continuing to post things on and off about what we do here at our apartment. And I'm still here to help answer any questions about mobile home remodeling, because we had 10 years of that. And, we won't be taking down any of our old videos or anything. So if there's things in there you'd like to see or what have you, they're not going anywhere. We will be changing the name of the channel. I don't know to what, but we will have to change the name because it's no longer that anymore. It's no longer a vintage mobile home life. It's vintage apartment life.